If you're feeling stuck in a rut with your weight loss goals and you're not really sure what to do, understanding these two key concepts has profoundly changed how many of my clients approach eating, and I'm here to share them with you too. So let's get into it. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Maria and I'm a board registered dietitian in Ireland and Bermuda. I'm here to help you understand nutrition and find a way of eating that works for you. So if that sounds good, please give the video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe, as it really helps support the channel. So first up, the whole dieting concept is flawed. Most of us know this by now. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry that seems to make more money year after year. Yet the headlines tell us that we're getting fatter and fatter. Something's not adding up. We all still cash out or cut out whatever we think is going to help. But knowledge is power. And when we finally understand why it's not working in a simple, non-sensuous, matter-of-fact way, like when a dietitian explains it, we can find a common sense approach that will finally work for us. And we won't need to be miserable along the way. Buckle up and we will dive into concept number 1, the dieting cycle.
Thank you and enjoy your flight.
Our bodies do not care about our weight loss goals. Whether that is looking good for a friend's wedding or fitting into a bikini for your next holiday, its main priority is keeping us alive. And when we restrict ourselves from food, something which we do need to stay alive, our body fights back with changes to our hormones and our metabolism. So we're going to look at the different phases of a diet and where these changes start to occur. Phase 1. This is the planning and preparation phase. Maybe you found an 8-week plan on the internet or you're starting to count calories. Surprisingly, this can often be a very exciting time for people. You might have a sense of positivity because you're starting something new. A lot of us actually have increased energy levels when we first start a diet. And there is science behind this. It's because we release adrenaline when we first start a diet. And I'll explain why this happens later on in the video. But moving on to the second phase. This is when we start to make changes. Maybe we're eating less and moving more. But we're toddling along. The hunger starts to get a little bit more noticeable, but we're able to push it away for the moment. We do find ourselves thinking about food more and craving certain things. Phase 3. We're getting hungrier now as the days pass on. We're thinking about food all the time. When will my next meal be? What am I going to have? We might even find ourselves starting to think, is there something wrong with me? Does everybody else think about food this much? We find ourselves getting annoyed when we see our friend or family member eating something that we can't have. Like, how is she able to eat all of those biscuits and not put on any weight? The hunger is turning into intense cravings now. And these are not cravings for things like fruit or a salad. These are cravings for high energy foods. And again, there's science behind this, which I will get to. At this point, you either continue to diet or you go off track and you end up eating more than planned. If you choose to continue to diet, the hunger and cravings will increase. And eventually, everyone eats more than the diet allows. And this brings me to phase 4. I'm going to jump in here and let you know about my free recipe ebook, which you can download via the link in the description below, where you can learn to make lots of recipes like this. The diet ends and we go back into old habits. We might even experience what some would call binges at this point. We lose all control and want to eat everything around us, and we feel like a failure. Following this, it's common for people to give up for a while and return to dieting then again on Monday or the start of the next new week or the next new month. In the famous words of Albert Einstein, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Yet, many of us find ourselves on one diet after another on this vicious roller coaster. I like to use this analogy here. If you were thrown overboard at sea and you went underwater and you couldn't breathe, you're starved of oxygen and you're frantic. Somebody finally pulls you up, brings you back up over the surface. You do not emerge and start breathing calmly like, yay, it's great that I can breathe now. You are going to be gasping frantically, trying to fill your lungs with air. And it's the same thing with food. If we deprive ourselves of food for a certain period of time, we finally then allow ourselves to eat. We don't just calmly sit at the table and eat a sandwich. We just raid the cupboards for everything in sight. It's your body's natural response to deprivation. And unfortunately, this is a cycle. A continuing, unpleasant situation created when one problem causes another problem, then makes the first problem worse. This is where the dietitian steps in and helps you realize that this needs to stop, or it will continue into your 20s, 30s, 40s. I've had people in their 50s and 60s turn to me and say, Maria, I've been on a diet all of my life and I'm still not where I want to be. And we're not meant to live our entire lives whilst on a diet. And this brings me to key concept number 2. Your goal, weight loss, and your body's goal, survival, are not aligned. This all stems back to our ancestors. Our bodies don't let us successfully diet because they are scared of losing weight. When we were cavemen, we would often have to go for several days without food. Therefore, our bodies have developed strategies to help us survive. We were able to carry on through evolution and become the humans that we are today. However, these strategies are so ingrained in our brains that despite having access to so much food in the modern world, our bodies still get scared of any future starvation. I refer to this happening as our caveman brain. When we reduce our food intake, our caveman brain switches on. And there's a few key things that start to happen. So number one, it releases adrenaline. This explains why some of us are so energetic at the start of a diet. Adrenaline is released to help you hunt for food. Cavemen needed this extra energy in times of famine to allow them to get up, get out, and physically go out and get some food. So adrenaline would have been really useful back in the day. However, for us, this starvation is purposeful. We don't need adrenaline. We can order Uber Eats online and have it delivered to our door within minutes. Number two, we have increased thoughts about food. Your brain is making you think about food all the time because it needs you to go out and get some nutrition. Now, not only does it make you think about food in general, but it makes you think about the high energy foods. Your survival brain is not saying go out, hunt and come back with just a rice cake and a banana. It needs something much more substantial than that. It wants high energy food in case there's another food shortage tomorrow. And this is why we crave things like burgers and chips and chocolate over salad. Fruit and lettuce just would not cut it in times of starvation. Number three, the metabolism adapts to conserve energy. Some people call this starvation mode. However, this isn't entirely accurate. Your body doesn't just enter a mode one day and hold onto all your fat so you don't starve. If this was the case, we wouldn't have anybody dying of starvation. And unfortunately, we do. More accurately, this is metabolic adaptation. And this might be where many people see a weight loss plateau. So our metabolism adjusts to slow and reduce the amount of calories our body needs to just function, burning less energy and helping it to hold on to as much weight and fat as possible, in case we have to go another few days without food. We also unconsciously start to move less, so you're less likely to get up from your desk, walk across the office floor to fill up your water bottle, and the overall amount of little movements that we do throughout the day start to reduce, without us even subconsciously being aware of this. We've even seen that people who have been dieting for many years start to blink less than others. And all of these things cause you to burn less calories. We can also experience muscle loss during this time, especially if you're not eating adequate protein. Your body might then have to use muscle tissue for energy. Because of this, our body composition changes to one that favors fat over muscle. And this ultimately makes weight loss harder, as how much muscle we have is linked to our metabolism. Muscle is active tissue and it burns more calories than fat. So we really want to hold on to our muscles. And the more diets that people go on year after year, they often tend to be losing more muscle each time, making things harder and harder, and it's like fighting an uphill battle. And again, this is where the dieting cycle just continues. Finally, our brain switches off our satiety signals. These are the signals that tell us, oh, I'm feeling pretty full now. I think I've had enough to eat. This is turned off because your brain wants to allow you to overeat and eat past this point of being comfortably full. It wants you to stock up in case there is another food shortage tomorrow. So there is nothing wrong with you if you feel a loss of control around food at the end of a diet. It's your body trying to protect you and it wants you to eat all the food around you. You are not broken. Knowing this can help us understand this loss of control that many people report when they find themselves at the end of a diet. So, to wrap it all up, dieting causes many changes. Our hormones change to make us think about food more and allow us to overeat. Our metabolism adapts and slows to conserve energy, and we can lose muscle mass. All of these things combine to make weight loss hard and harder after each attempt. And unfortunately, once we stop this cycle, things don't just go back to normal either. Studies have shown that these disrupted hunger and fullness cues can last past a year after the diet has ended. But the purpose of this video is not to lose hope. It is possible to successfully lose weight and keep it off. Make sure you're subscribed for next week's video where I'll be covering a strategy to help with this. But we need to be smart with our approach, working with and not against our body, taking into account all of these biological and behavioural changes that are taking place. Now, I will also caveat, there may be other reasons that your diet is not working, and I will cover these in future videos. But please comment below and let me know if this resonates with you. It's something that tends to hit home for a lot of people. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who might enjoy it also. And I have my free recipe ebook linked in the description below. Thanks for listening.